downstairs.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Card Dog episode 4. We're heading into week 14, guys. And yeah, that's right. There's still some bye weeks this week, but we've got a new show name, guys, because we're combining the best of Underdog Fantasy. That's prop bets, that's pick'ems, that is playoff Bestball, and we're combining that with football cards, collecting, investing, flipping. I'm joined back with Steve from at Scaladesi. And right off the bat, Steve, right now we know that all of us in our community specifically, we are focused on trying to flip cards for the holidays. We know that
That's
a
right.
lot of players are buy low right now, but we're also trying to sell player rookie cards and other hot items, football cards for a profit. So, and we were kind of talking about this before the show, and I want you to kind of share with me what your one of the tips that you have around selling or making more profit on the cards that you're selling right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we've talked about this on other episodes, and you and Carter have as well. Your best friend can be the eBay standard shipping option, and let me explain why. Uh, First of all, the buyer is going to see this as, hey, look, I'm only paying 93 cents for shipping, right? And that's obviously better than 4.50 or 6. I've seen some people charge $8 for a card to ship, which is insane. Um, but if you're a seller and you want to get the most back on your card, using this is going to work to your advantage because somebody might be selling their same card for less than you, but selling it with first class shipping. So the total is going to come out to, let's say, a $5 card with $4 shipping is going to be $9. Okay. And let's say you could charge $8 for the card, right? And then use the eBay standard shipping. And when you itemize it by price, yours will still be less than theirs. So that's big because you're going to sell your card for $8. They're going to take their cut, and you're still going to get about $7 for your card. The guy selling his card for $4 or $5 is going to get about $4 for his card. So that's a huge, huge difference. And if you're multiplying that by how many cards you sell, think about that.
Yeah, that could add up quick. My first thought is, where is that guy shipping from for $8? Is that like coming from Australia or the UK or Canada?
I honestly, it's a shame. I do see some people kind of scamming people. I saw a guy that charged like 250 for shipping the other day on one of my cards, but then it came in an eBay standard envelope. So it's like he only paid 90 cents for it, but he charged 250, and it's like, you know what, like at least be upfront about it. If you're going to charge 250, send it in a 250 worth of a mailer.
Yeah, doesn't it make more sense as a seller to make your profit on the card than on the shipping? I mean, it almost seems unethical to me to to try and make profit on a pass-through service such as shipping.
Yeah, I mean, unless he's getting kickback from the post office, I don't think he is. But yeah, it's kind of unethical in my opinion. You're an eBay seller. You're not a profiteer of the mail service. But to each their own, I guess.
Wow, man, that's a great little tip you shared there, Steve, and that's wonderful, man. I love it, and I want to ask you, how do you feel, man? Because this is episode 3. We've got the new show name. We made it official because based on your intel that you gave us, let's think about this. The night before Thanksgiving, you told us you gave us 5 picks. 4 out of 5 of those were correct. If I were maybe not get so greedy on that David Montgomery touchdown, I could have 10x my money. However, the very next week, last Thursday night, all 4 of your picks panned out. They were correct. So I 10x'd my money on Thursday. And then we didn't do a show on Sunday. However, my picks won on Sunday. And so now coming into this show this week in week 14, how do you feel?
Good. I try to use the same level head approach every week because it's easy to get reckless when you're ahead. You know what I mean? Uh, so anytime you start making long shot bets and getting greedy, it's easy to kind of come back down the ladder, come back to reality. And obviously, like, a 90% pick rate is not sustainable, but I do have faith. I've got many years of doing this that I have at least a favorable success rate with picking games and props. So.
Well, we've got high expectations for you. And if you guys want to get in on the picks that we're going to make tonight on these player prop bets, potentially do some best ball, talk about playoff projections as well, talk about the players that we expect to perform the best throughout the entirety of the playoffs and here in week 14, just go to underdogfantasy.com. Use that promo code Quest, guys. You get 100% deposit bonus instantly into your account. You can make the bets with us. We're going to start out with like $5-10 tonight. And I want to start off with the tomorrow night's game because this is a big game. The Steelers are 6-5. They barely won this game last weekend. And so now they're still in the playoff hunt, right? So, but the Steelers are in must-win territory on a weekly basis. On the other hand, the Minnesota Vikings just gave Detroit Lions their very first win of the year. So they're like really not like they had to instantly take a shower after that game and try and forget all about it. What are you seeing at this game tomorrow night? It's in Minnesota. We've got a 44.5 over under, Steve, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are favored by, or no, actually, it looks like Minnesota is favored by 3 points.
Yeah, so they're basically predicting it's going to go down to the wire. Anytime the home team gets the 3 points, they're basically getting the home team spread at that point. So I like a couple picks in this game. Deontay Johnson. Now, for those of you that don't know the name, I mean, he's a stud wideout. He's actually third in the league in targets, believe it or not. And you wouldn't know that because he's not as much of a homegrown name as like Justin Jefferson or any of these other guys. But I mean, if you look at his numbers, they are pretty impressive. And since Roethlisberger's kind of got his game together, he's reaped the benefits of that. I want to say, at least for the last 4 or 5 games, hasn't had fewer than 7 receptions. So 6.5 seems pretty safe. So I was going with the over on that one.
The over on Deontay Johnson, 6.5 receptions. That does make sense. I think that makes a lot of sense, Scott, as just from the sheer fact of, like you're talking about, opportunity share. I'm looking at his snap share here, almost 100% in every game. It looks like he's getting double-digit targets in almost every game. And the last, yeah, man, I mean, he's getting heavily targeted. And the last 4 weeks, he hasn't had a game under 5 receptions except for week 5 against Denver. And now we're talking the Minnesota defense, who, if they have any weakness, it's their secondary, right?
Yeah, and I fully anticipate both teams to be airing it out in this game. In fact, the news out of Pittsburgh is that they're going to go and lean on Big Ben because they've been doing well with the passing game, and defenses have kind of figured out that the O-line is weak and they can stop Harris. So they're going to keep chucking it, and he seems to be the main benefactor of that.
Hell yeah, I like it, man. I like it. I'm smashing the over on Deontay Johnson's 6.5 receptions. What else you got for me in this game?
Let's see. What else do we got here? We got... Oh, where'd my picks go? The ones I sent you earlier. Hold on. There we go. I went with Najee Harris receiving yards, rather, 27.5. Now, in my opinion, that one's a little riskier than the Deontay Johnson one. But again, the word on the street is they are going to be relying on the passing game, and he does get a lot of receptions. And again, you mentioned the secondary being weak. He just has to get, one elongated reception to probably make that and cover that spread. So I think that's a pretty favorable one.
I think so too, man. I'm looking at this and just the last 3 weeks alone against teams that have a stronger D line, Cincinnati, Baltimore. I mean, he's getting 5 targets. He's turned that into 5 receptions against the Chargers for 20 yards, 3 for 14 against Cincinnati, but then 5 for 36. So, like I said, it's a little bit riskier, but I would say at least 50% of the games this year, he's got over on those receiving yards of 27.5, and tomorrow night at Minnesota. So do you have any other picks for me on Pittsburgh, or is the rest of it, are we gonna try and get to the 10 or the 20x?
Well, why don't we do the 4 that I had picked first, and then we can kind of maybe go with a couple Hail Marys from there.
All right.
The next pick was the George Kittle over. And I would have taken this even if he didn't have a huge game last week. But even if Deebo Samuel comes back this week, I don't think he'll be 100%. And I think that they've made it very clear that he can be relied on as the focal point of their offense. And they are playing Cincinnati, whose secondary is quite porous. So I think that that's a solid play, in my opinion.
And you got to think that Cincinnati, after losing last week to the Chargers, they are really trying to stay in the playoff contention as well. I mean, it's a really tight division, that AFC North division, with Baltimore, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. So Cincinnati airing it out. I'm sure even with the pinky, as it was immediately injured that last Sunday game, Joe Burrow, he was still throwing the ball down the field at Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. And I think that's going to force San Francisco to do the same thing. I love this pick, Steve, because look at Kittle's snap share the last 3 weeks, 83%, 93%, 93%. So he's on the field a ton. He's super reliable. He's a monster yards after the catch type of athlete. And he went off this week. We know he went nuclear. It was Kittle mania, as you were saying in the Discord, for 181 yards and the 2 touchdowns. And all we're asking for this week at Cincinnati, a game that could turn into a shootout. I want to look at the spread the over-under on this game is at 49 currently. So Vegas is expecting the over-under, the total points for this game, to go up. And so I think that's a good indication that they're kind of aiming for a shootout, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, even with a freshly injured finger, Burrow still threw for over 300 yards last week. So, a week healed, he could potentially do that or better. I do think it'll be a shootout. Both of these teams are very hungry, and there's only a few weeks in the season left. I could see it being a pretty high scoring game.
Yeah, and I love this pick as well at Cincinnati. George Kittle over 56.5 receiving yards. Very, very nice pick. I feel very comfortable with that pick as well. All right, so you got one more for us, right, on this parlay?
I do, and the last one was KJ Osborne.
Ooh, okay, KJ Osborne.
And I went with the over on that. Now, they haven't officially ruled Thielen out, but let's be realistic. It's a high ankle sprain. I don't think he's going to play, and if he does, he probably won't be effective. Look at what Osborne did in just part of the game last week. Oh, he is officially ruled out.
Officially ruled out. That was today, so it was just earlier. Yeah, hot off the press, guys. Adam Thielen officially ruled out. So that changes. That makes it even better, right?
That only solidifies what I'm saying here. And he had some good production in limited minutes last week, and there it is, 4 for 47.
Yeah,
And now
4 for
they have the
47
difference
and a
between
touchdown.
last week and this week is he's now part of the game plan because they're going into this game knowing Thielen's not playing, right? So I think that that's only going to enhance his opportunities, and I think that going over with him is the way to go on this bet.
And it's also being bolstered by the fact that Pittsburgh is looking to air it out as well. And this game looks like it could very well go over on the point total
And
as
I think
well.
as we learned from a Monday night game, it's important to note that this game is indoors. There won't be 50-mile-an-hour winds to contend with.
Well, I'm feeling good about these 4 picks you just shared. I feel like these are very well researched, and you know what? I mean, even if they don't hit, the process behind each one of these is very good. So I think when you like balance out at the end of the year, we look back at how many picks we got right and wrong. I think we're going to get more right with this sports analytic process than just like coach feels.
Yeah, it's easy. It's real easy to make emotional picks, and you might say like, you could look at Najee Harris and be like, oh, he's put up a lot of yards this year. I'll go with the over on rush and receiving, but that might not be the play because they have been stopping him in the rushing game lately. So if you look at the numbers, use a little intuition, and then also look at the notes from the reporters and the coaches. You make an educated decision at the end of the day, and that tends to work out in your favor if you do those things.
Boom. You know what? I am going to increase my bet this week. I just noticed that
Oh,
I got my balance is up to
wow.
215, man, based on the pick'ems that we've been winning, based on this process. And so I'm going to increase my bet to $15 here. If
Wow.
we win, that's a $150 payout. Now, let me ask you. This is why the show is called The Card Dog. I'm going to go ahead and save that. I'll share it out to the guys in the Discord later. But out of the 4 guys that we just picked, which one are you most bullish about buying or investing in their cards, and why?
I wanted to bring this up last week, but we kind of got over time a little bit. But Deontay Johnson, I've been buying a lot of his cards lately, and you can buy elite receiver. In my opinion, he's an elite receiver. You can buy his cards for the average receiver price still. Now, I have seen an uptick in his sales slightly, but I bought, and this is maybe pure luck, but I always watch auctions, and I picked up his Pen Pals auto card for $3 last week on an auction. That card in a buy it now format is minimum 30 or 35 bucks. So he is getting slept on very hard.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah, here's a couple auctions. Here's an auction ending tonight on a rookie ticket auto with the on-card auto. Right now at 20. I mean,
yeah, I was looking at the numbers to back it up, and like I said, he's 3rd in targets. He's in the top 4 in receptions. It's unbelievable. I mean, yeah, $23, man.
Yeah, let me blow that up for you guys. And I also love the market size in Pittsburgh. I mean, it's a rabid fan base. It's a really old school fan base, and they're diehards. And it's huge. It's huge, man. They're one of the oldest football teams in the league, and they have a ton of championships. And they still have got their dynasty quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger and their coach and Mike Tomlin, and I mean, I can definitely see them finding a way to squeak into the playoffs here, and Deontay becoming a good flip, and not to mention he's a 2019 rookie. So, I mean, yeah, as a wide receiver, he's got another, 10, 12 years ahead of him at a high level.
Oh, yeah. And he's got Chase Claypool on the other side. So
Oh yeah, Chase Claypool,
They
man.
have Claypool. They have Freiermuth. They have Deontay Johnson. They have Najee Harris. Now, there's a lot of people saying this is Big Ben's last year. If that's true, how hard would it be for them to lure a top QB to Pittsburgh? I don't think it would be that hard.
I don't think it would be that hard either. In fact, I think that's probably one of the few puzzle pieces that they're missing. And there's certain games that Big Ben has played very well this year, but there's been more games that he hasn't played well, and he certainly isn't mobile by any stretch of the imagination, right? So that's not going for him.
Yeah, just imagine too. Mobility aside, imagine if Big Ben had his arm, or if he had if they had another quarterback with a bigger arm than Ben has right now. Deontay Johnson could be putting, Justin Jefferson numbers up in a different environment.
Yeah, man, that's incredible, and I love these prices. I love these prices. I'm looking at Solds.
Did you see that
Yes.
one? $13.81. If you scroll down a little bit more.
Scroll down a little bit more. Oh my.
That is
That's
a steal.
When was that? November 30th. So that was a Tuesday. I gotta see what time this person ended their auction. I'm always curious. Okay, and they ended it at night, 10:36 p.m. Only 9 bids, 13.8. Oh my gosh, someone got such a steal. Hoodies Collectibles, man. I've heard of them. So hoodies, I believe,
a few times. They're pretty reputable.
Yeah, I believe hoodie. I mean, look at the amount of transactions they have on here. Insane. And for that many transactions to be that highly positive is really good. And I believe they're on Beckett Marketplace as well.
Maybe 10:30 is just a little too late for some people.
Yeah, that's probably, I would agree with that, especially like on a Tuesday, when we, us on the East Coast, when we stayed up late Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night on a Tuesday, that's typically like, ready to crash early night for some of us anyways.
Yeah, because 10:30, like you said, East Coast, there's a lot of people on the East Coast. That's going to affect them. If you ended it at 8:30, let's say, or let's say you ended it at 7:30, I think 8 o'clock is safe, because just about anywhere in the US it's going to be not that late.
Definitely seeing some volume. Is this the pen pals you snagged right here?
No, because I got it in an auction.
Oh, that's right. You did say you got it in auction.
But I've got a few of his Prism autos. I've got a couple other auto cards of his. I've got quite a few optic variations that I bought throughout the year. And I think it's just a good buy. I mean,
yeah. What would you say in terms of the 2019 product, in terms of visual aesthetic appeal? Because cards are so driven by the way something looks, right? The way the card looks. Cards are all looks. So what would you say from 2019 has kind of like what you feel is the best look for Deontay Johnson?
Yeah, just me personally, or the most scarce, or just my personal opinion?
Yeah, just kind of your personal opinion.
I'm torn between the optic, either probably like the orange optic, or the orange prism I really like. And I can't remember which one it is. I think there's an orange optic too. They're lower print, not the laser beam one, but the ones that are serial numbered. And not just for Deontay Johnson. I'm just a huge fan of those in general. Another thing to point out with the 2019 draft class is, compared to this 2020 draft class that just passed, I feel like there weren't as many like guys that really stood off the page. Yeah, that's a beauty right there.
Yeah, that orange optic, that's sick, dude. That's an orange scope. It's numbered out
Look at
of
that,
79.
$17 somebody got that for.
October, that's
With a
back a
dollar
month.
shipping.
125 shipping. So that's a steal right there.
I love those, man. And it's not true color match, but it's pretty close.
It's pretty close. That border compared to the
The
color on his
optic logo
jersey,
itself is black, and the border kind of matches the uniform.
that card does look really nice.
Yeah, I would say that's my favorite looking card for him, or the orange prism. And yeah, like I said, I don't think there's as many people are chasing from the 2019 sets, but I think there's going to come a time where people are going to start shopping his cards quite a bit more. Better to get
Right?
it.
I think if you were to ask like a mainstream hobbyist, one of the people that are like, oh, you can only invest in quarterbacks, they probably would only really know Kyler Murray, and then they, like, well, there's a lot of value to be had in these skill position players, and they probably wouldn't be able to name you many from 2019.
Yeah, just getting back into the hobby this year, I think that was something that kind of surprised me. But I don't know. Think about it. We, as whether it's being an influencer or being just someone that buys the cards yourself or a collector, we are the ones that influence the hobby, right? We drive the hobby. So if we buy these cards, if we're interested in these cards, and new people entering the hobby are interested in buying these cards too, the dynamic will change. I mean, look at how many people were buying Trayvon Diggs cards. Look at how many people still buy Brian Urlacher cards. Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, but not the point. There is a market, and I think that the market is shifting. So it's not saying QBs won't always be like top of the chain. They probably will. But there is definitely a place for skill position players, and it's better to be in before it's, the prices go up.
Absolutely. I want to shout out here to Jay B1. Hopefully, I'm saying that right, Jay. Appreciate your support here on the quest, brother. He says 5 years from now, I think this is what he's trying to say. I think he's wanting to ask your opinion, Steve, on Deontay Johnson. 5 years from now, with his card, what do you think his card's going to be worth, or what his career is going to look like? I think that's a really important thing to take into consideration, especially when you're investing in cards, is to kind of project out 3 to 5 years. And that's what we're doing in Dynasty Fantasy Football. That's why we feel there's such a great correlation between Dynasty Fantasy, where you're stuck with these players year after year from their rookie draft, and you're forced to manage them across their entire career. So we really want to take the entire career of the player into our scope. What's your opinion on Deontay Johnson maybe 3 to 5 years from now? We kind of touched on it already, but I want to kind of sum it up here for Jay.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think he's good enough that they're not going to supplant him as the wide receiver one on that team. And there's enough young players that are signed for a few years around him that I think will keep his value where it is. Who comes in next at quarterback has a lot to do with his value as well. But I mean, Big Ben is not the old Big Ben, and he's still getting him the ball. So I think it's safe to say that his value is good, safe where it is, and most likely going to continue to go up, especially if they get a Deshaun Watson, or if they get any of these guys that are going to be free agents next year.
I was hoping you're going to say Aaron Rodgers,
Could
because I
be.
don't know
I
if you
mean,
noticed on playerprofiler.com, comparing Deontay Johnson's athletic metrics, his college resume, all that, his best comparable player is Randall Cobb. So I like that. And if you just watching Deontay Johnson, he looks faster than Randall Cobb. He looks like, Randall Cobb maybe did 10 years ago. And if they could pull in a quarterback like that, man, that could be really powerful.
yeah, Cobb was, good in his prime, but I don't think Cobb's ever had the kind of target share that Deontay Johnson does.
All right, so Jay is he's talking about Pittsburgh along with New England have always had a good set system. The next quarterback coming in could play a big role with a lot of these very skilled ass wide. I think he meant to have an extra S in there. Skilled ass wide receiver. and Najee, yeah, for sure. And Najee is just absolute stud.
Yeah, at running back, tight end, receiver, they're good. I mean, their defense is pretty good. The thing is they'll probably draft some O-line next year.
Mm.
And like you said, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson. I mean, there's guys that could go to that team and make them serious Super Bowl favorites next year.
For sure, especially they continue building on the defense and the coaching is still good. And I know that they've had one of the more difficult, actually going into the season, they had the most difficult strength of schedule out of any team in the NFL based on their opponent's win percentage from last year.
Here, I'm trying to pull this up. Let's see.
Jennings, shout out to Jennings. What's up, man? Jennings says Ramondre Stevenson is a beast for New England. He absolutely is a beast. I didn't realize that he was pushing 250 and he's as thick as he is. That dude is a beast. And I love investing in young running backs because that's the one position that has the shortest age production adjusted curve. You know, we look at the best running backs going back in time. They've all retired like in their early 30s, except for the great one, Adrian Peterson, who's still running in touchdowns now for Seattle, you know, a lock for the Hall of Fame, top 5 in stats all time. I don't even know how that guy is in such good shape right now. I think you're a big fan of investing in Adrian Peterson rookie cards right now, aren't you, Steve?
Actually, my father is a huge Vikings, long life Vikings fan. So I recently picked up a couple. I know he's not watching, so but yeah, I did pick up a couple for his mantle for Christmas. So it's gonna be nice. He's gonna be really surprised to get those. But you know what's funny is I tried to place a prop bet on Peterson to score a touchdown last week, and no one had it offered. I was pretty upset.
Oh. But that's awesome that you were actually thinking that. You weren't even looking at the prop bets that they had available. You're like, no, Adrian Peterson touchdown. I need to find that somewhere.
It happened too. It did happen.
It did happen, man. It did happen. Who is Seattle playing this week? That's right. Okay, so they're playing the Texans.
The general is coming out.
That's right, man. The general. Is he promoted back to general, or are we gonna leave him at like corporal status right now?
Grunt Mills, perhaps.
Private Mills.
Yeah, he's. I guess he's going to be starting this week. And let's be honest, Seattle's defense, the second half of the year so far, has looked really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah, they got a stern talking or something. It was like night and day, man. They just boom, flicked a switch, and all of a sudden they started playing good. And Vegas is thinking this is going to be a low scoring game, 41.5 over under.
You know what's really interesting? Look at what the over under for Russell Wilson's passing yards are, and you're going to be shocked because he's played so poorly lately.
He has. He really has. And is the finger still an issue, you think?
Look at that.
Oh, my God. 239 passing yards at Houston? No way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like General Mills numbers right there.
He's got to bounce back. I mean, one of these games. I know that I saw a tweet come out today from NBC Sports Edge that said, quote, Russell Wilson would accept trades to Denver, New Orleans, or there was one other team. It was Denver, New Orleans, somebody else. But I thought that was interesting.
I'm not going to sit here and say that he's throwing games, but I don't know, man. I just think that he's not happy there anymore, and it's affecting his gameplay.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to smash the over on that. I think I'm
It's
going to
pretty. I
smash the
mean,
over.
it seems like a pretty safe bet. I mean, Houston's defense is terrible.
And it's like, how many games in a row can Russell Wilson be held under 230 passing yards? It's gotta burst. Like, just DK Metcalf alone, Tyler Lockett. Like, I feel like there's gotta be a big play in both of those guys. Like, just right around the corner here. Any snap now.
Well, yeah, I mean, those two guys on any given weekend can score a 50, 60-yard touchdown, an 80-yard touchdown even. So uh, one of those could cement that bet if he just has an average game the rest of the game.
So that's an interesting prop bet right there. I'm definitely going to go over on that. And same thing with if Davis Mills is on here, because we've seen him play absolutely lights out, and I'm wondering, yeah, Seattle's defense has been playing a lot better, but with this one being at home in Houston, if Davis Mills has any time in the pocket, I think he could absolutely pick apart Seattle. We saw him pick apart New England, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I don't know if he's on there yet, and I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
because he hasn't officially been said that he's starting, but I think that it's just assumed that he is at this point.
Shout out to Josh Williams on a come up here. My man Josh from Down Home Sports Cards on Instagram. He's always putting out incredible deals on there. If you guys are looking for some deals, like really good deals on all different kinds of sports, check him out. Down Home Sports Cards. He said definitely like looking in Deontay and the other skills from Pittsburgh, especially if we got confirmation on this being Big Ben's last season. All four still have a solid future ahead. I love it. And then JB1 came back and said, what do you guys think of the Mac Jones craze? I watched my Donruss rated rookie go from $100 graded 10 to 3,000 back down to 1,300. Jay, are you selling these in an auction, or are you selling these and buy it now? Because I don't know why they would be coming back down right now, unless maybe you were doing an auction at just that time of the week and the timing
I
and
think
stuff.
he's I think he's speculating the average sale price. And my advice would be is even if it's at 1,300, sell it. If it's at 500, sell it because it will go down more, almost for sure.
Yeah, I would say don't get greedy on that at all, because it's at an astronomically high price comp to even Patrick Mahomes. I mean, shoot, we're now in the conversation where we're comping Mac Jones rookie card prices of his base Donruss rated rookie with a significantly higher print run, with a PSA pop report that goes up every week. There was a tweet from PSA card released last week that said the Mac Jones base Donruss rated rookie was the most submitted card in November out of any sport, any player. That's crazy. So that card value, based on the supply trickle in effect alone, is going to go down. And I mean, the thing is, Mac Jones doesn't have that merit yet to go ahead and crown him as the next Tom Brady. Now, if they win a championship, I don't know. That could change, but you still have all these other new products coming out from Panini here in the next 2 months. Prism, Optic, Select, all these other sets, and all these cards coming back from PSA Mac Jones. That's only going to degrade the value of that card now.
Not just that, you have a ton of Donruss products still out there that's unopened, right? And you have PSA potentially reopening bulk submissions in the near future. So people getting these Mac Joneses are going to be getting them into PSA and back pretty soon. So that's not a sustainable price. If you're intent on collecting him, you can do it at a much lower price later. I would sell it as soon as you can.
Don't get greedy. You got profit in the card, go ahead and take it, man. Josh loves the over on Russ. Well, let's look at what else we got going on this Sunday, because we got a lot of teams that are still fighting for playoff spots. There's a lot of teams in the AFC that are still in the hunt. And I think there's a lot of teams in the NFC, like the NFC East is still kind of wide open, right? NFC South, yeah, it's kind of run by Tampa right now. The NFC North is kind of run by Green Bay, but you got a lot of wild card teams that are still in contention. NFC East maybe run by Dallas, but they've been slipping as of late. Dak has not played as good as he was playing earlier in the season. And maybe you can warrant that to not having Amari Cooper for like a month due to COVID and CeeDee Lamb. And so let's look at what else we got going on Sunday. Any games off the top of your head that are popping off to you here?
Who's Washington playing again?
So
Are they
Washington
on a
is
bye?
playing the Cowboys this
Oh,
week.
they are.
Speaking of the Cowboys, yeah.
Okay.
This is a
I'll be
divisional
honest.
matchup.
I'm feeling Washington right now.
And so over under at 47.5 currently. And what's interesting is that Washington has won like the last 5 games in a row.
A lot of people are Heineke doubters, man. I'm not one of them. I think we talked about this last week. I've been high on him since he took the job over. He's just looked sharp, and he does still have a lack of experience under his belt. He is going to make mistakes, but I don't know, man. I like the guy. I don't. Yeah, it doesn't look like they have props on him yet. But
what? No props on Heineke?
I hate when they don't put him up till later in the week.
Yeah, it's like I guess they're still analyzing if it's too risky or what they do want to prop for him.
It's an outdoor game, is it not?
I believe. Let me see. Yeah, it's going to be at Washington. So yeah, that's an outdoor game.
Yeah, that's maybe. I wonder if that's why they haven't put it up yet. I'm thinking there could be some weather coming.
And the over under has gone down. It opened at 48.5, gone down to 47. But yeah, I don't see. Oh, okay, I do see Zeke and Dak. That's the only props I see here for that game. Unfortunately, Zeke at 42.5, Dak at 279. I almost want to take the under on Dak passing 279, but I know Washington's weakness is their secondary, and Dak could finally kind of break through to the other side in this game, especially if Heineke is able to continue scoring at the rate he's scoring and playing at the rate he's playing. Because like you said, man, the dude he's all grit, toughness. He's dual threat, rushing and passing capability. And I love the comparison I think you drew to him on this show a couple weeks ago with Brett Favre and just his ability under immense amount of pressure packed situations to like find a way out of the pocket, scramble and extend the play for another 7 seconds and hit his star receiver, Terry McLaurin, in the corner of the end zone for a game-winning touchdown. That's the kind of stuff that can drive the hobby to go out and collect and invest in his rookie cards.
And I think the improved play of Antonio Gibson really gives them a shot in that game as well.
Antonio Gibson, man, Antonio Gibson's been looking better and better. And
another guy that's been massively slept on in the hobby, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. I remember us looking at his cards and we talked about this, how explosive his speed score, his height adjusted speed score is comparable to that of like an Adrian Peterson. I mean, the guy's a big human being and incredibly fast and agile. And he wasn't used as a bell cow running back in college, so he doesn't have a ton of miles on his wheels per se. I like that.
Yeah, if you wanted to do a couple more random underdog picks, well, I guess it'll be easier to just look at who they have listed right now.
Yeah, we kind of have to, yeah. Let's see what we got here. All right, so we talked about tomorrow night's game. They did have quite a few. We already put our picks in for that. You got Baltimore at Cleveland, another big divisional matchup Sunday at 1 o'clock. That's another potential weather game, right?
Yeah, I can't say I'm a huge fan of that game. There's some games I just don't like to get involved with. There's a low over under on the points. It's a divisional rival game where they just run the ball down each other's throats. It's a defensive game typically, and they just played each other. The last game that they played was against each other. So they're gonna have a lot of game planning, like extra notes, because they literally just played each other 2 weeks ago.
That's wild. And yet we still have a 42-point over under. I know that Baker Mayfield hasn't played incredible. They went ahead and traded Odell Beckham Jr. and Lamar Jackson hasn't been playing great. I'm like, the target distribution last week for Lamar Jackson, it's pretty much kind of turned into Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, and then some Marquise Brown, some Sammy Watkins, zero Rashad Bateman, the guy they drafted in the first round. Like, what the
He's
hell?
disappeared, absolutely disappeared.
Yeah, like they freaking ghosted him. And yeah, this game could go weird. I agree with you, Jay, that this is a total division rivals game here. Both teams are still fighting for the playoffs, and I don't know in terms of pick'ems if I feel comfortable. Lamar Jackson's total yardage, Mark Andrews receiving yards is the only one I kind of feel comfortable with.
Yeah, if they had like what's his name, the running back for the Ravens, Freeman.
Devontae Freeman
Yeah,
or
if there
Latavius
was a
Murray.
Freeman bet, I would probably be interested in that one. But Chubb has played like crap lately. Jarvis Landry is literally a dart throw every week.
Mm-hmm.
Mayfield is so inconsistent. I mean, I'll be honest, that's a game that I don't particularly like any of the players for.
Stay away. Let's stay away. And they don't have my guy on here. My dark horse for the Cowboys. He might outperform Zeke again this week. Tony Pollard.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Especially
And
if
he's
they're
not on here.
forecasting Elliott for 42 yards.
And he's not on here. So then you have Las Vegas Raiders at Kansas City. Whew. That's a hot game right there.
That game's got potential if the Chiefs play like the Chiefs typically play, not like they played earlier in the year. That could be a shootout. That could be, another Derek Carr 300-yard plus game. But they don't have Waller, and even when they've had Waller, he hasn't quite been himself. So I'm not sure what's going on there with him. But luckily, guys like Hunter Renfrow have stepped it up. But if you have noticed, there's been a significant drop in Derek Carr's yards. All of his big games came at the beginning of the year. Well, his biggest games were in the first several weeks.
Yardage, yeah, 435. And this is where we're talking about not getting greedy, because you're right. There's a big drop off in production from Derek Carr. And I guarantee you, because we've seen it so many times this season, the rookie card values tied to the production of these players on the field, that his rookie card values have fallen off, especially in auctions. Now, there's still going to be those diehard Raiders fans that will reach from time to time and for a buy it now of a rare card. But in auctions, if you're trying to sell these cards, I guarantee you the values have fallen off from the beginning of the season, when it was like almost a Derek Carr for MVP type of conversation.
I think he's still second in passing yards. I could be wrong. Maybe he fell, but I'm not saying he's playing terrible, but he's going to have to step it up a bit if they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, he hasn't thrown an interception in the last two games. At Dallas, he didn't throw an interception, which is fairly impressive with how much Trayvon Diggs is intercepting the ball. And he had 373 passing yards, 1 touchdown. This is an interesting game, another rivals game here at Kansas City. And Kansas City's just kind of like been relying on their defense. I saw a tweet that was from this guy. It was, I can't remember his name. He's a fantasy football sharp. And he said something like, please don't tell me that Patrick Mahomes is just a fancy Alex Smith, or something like Patrick Mahomes' year this year has turned into looking like a fancy Alex Smith.
Yeah, no, KC's been, I mean, that's the thing, is football is a team game. And whether you win it pretty or not, a win's a win. But obviously everyone that collects Mahomes or is a Mahomes fan is expecting elite output. It definitely has not been there this year, though.
Well, the last time he played you're right, it hasn't been there this year. I mean, look at the ups and downs. The last good game that he had was at Vegas. He threw for 406 yards and 5 touchdowns. That was the last really good game he had. And now they're back at Vegas and they're in Arrowhead Stadium. Another game that could be affected by the weather.
I'm going to check the weather right now and see.
And I'm looking at the over-unders here. And so we're looking at this, right? Last time he had 400 passing yards, a ton of touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. I feel like they're both due for some boom games at home. Weather is going to be a big factor in this game. Let me shout out to Wayne Bainbridge, man. What's going on, Wayne? Oh no, Tony Pollard suffered an injury. I missed that, man. What's going on with him, dude? I love Tony Pollard. Jags with an upset. Jay, what's going on? Who are the Jags playing this week? That's
Andy, for the weather in KC, we're looking A-OK for Sunday. 56 degrees.
56 degrees, not too windy. Jay, I think the Jags are on a bye week this week, brother. So is that what you mean? Is that a joke?
They're playing Tennessee.
Oh, did I miss it? Here, oh, there it is. My bad. Yeah, I missed it. The Jags at Tennessee. Okay. Another divisional matchup, man.
They're riding high, but that might be a good money line or spread game if you're going to take the Jaguars. But I don't know. I think the Titans will pull through on that one.
Are the Titans getting anybody back? Are they getting Julio Jones back, AJ Brown, Derrick Henry?
I think AJ Brown was designated for return, but they haven't activated him yet. So there's always the chance he could play this week. It's not been formally announced. I think more realistically next week he'll be back. But with the new assortment of running backs that they've been using, they've looked a lot better all of a sudden.
Yeah, Dontrell Hilliard had that incredible play. Not when they were on bye last week, the week before, and Donta Foreman has been pretty solid as well. They've kind of found a way to continue to produce. I think that the Titans have really good coaching. I've been a big fan of their coaching.
They're another team that just finds a way to win, even if it's not pretty.
I'm trying to see if they have any. There's no props on that game, unfortunately. So it would be a game I'd have to parlay with. We could spin up a draft. We could do a private draft. Let's look at some of these other games and see what other props we got, though, before we do that. The Jets at home against New Orleans. Let's talk about this game for a second. The Jets at home against New Orleans. Taysom Hill, starting quarterback, 43.5 over under.
So I don't know, Andy, if you heard, Hill might not start because of a finger injury.
Oh, I do remember the finger. And I remember the 4 interceptions he threw last time they played.
I think it hasn't been announced yet, but they're planning for Trevor Siemian to start as of now. So
interesting. Okay. Well, that definitely changes things.
I think that's why they don't have any of the skill position players listed.
They got nothing for New Orleans up. How do you feel about Zach Wilson? 209 passing yards. New Orleans secondary, one of the better secondaries in the league. I mean, it's
Yeah,
only 209 yards, and I know what he's got Corey Davis back. Elijah Moore has become like the focal point of their offense. Jamison Crowder. I can't think of who else they have. I want to say I don't think they have Perryman anymore or Herndon. I don't think that's on the team. But the guys that I'm familiar with on the offensive, Michael Carter Jr. has been a really good running back, another rookie, and Elijah Moore, another rookie, have kind of been their best offensive weapons as of late. Besides maybe Tevin Coleman, Corey Davis has been suffered with several injuries this year. Jamison Crowder as well. Is there anything? I mean, 209 passing yards.
oh man, I don't know. I'll tell you what. I mean, because the number's so low, it's the kind of game you could maybe dart throw and place it as a single bet. I wouldn't put any kind of gamble into if you were going to parlay a bet. That's not one I would do, unless they were giving you like favorable odds, right? Like if they were saying, "Oh, him to go over 200 yards, we're going to give you, plus 400." Yeah, I'd take it then. But I mean, what do we got there for his yardage? I mean, he doesn't go
Dude.
over 200 very often.
No, that's the thing, man. I mean, that's the thing. When you play at Houston and you only throw for 145 yards, but then he plays a much better secondary in Philadelphia and throws for 226. Trying to keep up with Gardner Minshew last week.
And it makes you wonder how, was there any one of those that was like one really long play that ate up a chunk of those yards? The stats can be a little deceiving in that aspect, but it is at home, so he's got that going for him. Is there going to be a weather situation? I'm not sure, but that would, before I would do that, that's another thing I would look into, because like they're playing the Saints, and if it's mediocre weather like we just saw in New England, then I would stay away.
Yes, Gardner Minshew, the Mississippi mustache, he did play well. We knew he was going to play well. He was a must start in every fantasy format this past week. He was a smash on every prop bet you could find on him, because when that guy gets a chance to start in his initial start for whatever team, he balls out.
He did play against the Jets defense, though.
I know, you remind me of that. He does, but it is the Jets defense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that he couldn't do it again, but they've already said Hurts is starting next week. So temper your expectations. Don't go spending, an insane amount of money on Minshew rookie cards just yet.
That's true. This is an interesting little excerpt from PFF here. Just over 60% of Gardner Minshew's passing yards in the game came after the catch. His numbers were aided by receivers running free downfield, like on his touchdown pass to Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that doesn't translate onto the stat sheet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very, very true. But he's the type of player that he's so interesting, and his personality is so dynamic and like entertaining that he's gonna drive people to collect him for that fact alone.
I was hardcore rooting for him when he was in Jacksonville. Absolutely. I'm just giving the most honest, realistic evaluation from my perspective about the situation over there. I mean, I see in the comments he's better than Hurts. What's up, Jets Crazy? I don't know that that's true. There's definitely an argument there. Absolutely. He's a better passer, maybe. But let's be honest, they just used the first round pick on Hurts. I don't think they're gonna stash him on the bench right now.
No doubt. And Hurts is a stud in his own right. He just got to find a way, get him some better quarterback coaching. And I like this comment from Filthy Seed, one of the diehard Eagles fans in our Discord. and he's just like talking about how Jalen Hurts tries to do too much a lot of times, tries to push the ball too much, because they do put so much responsibility on his shoulders to try and win these games. And you notice the games where is more strategic runs from Jalen Hurts, and they dial up more running game and shorter passes. He gets into a better tempo. He starts playing better, and there's a much better game script to Jalen Hurts. And I think a lot of it's come down to coaching this year, play calling on the offense. In my opinion, what do you think about that, Steve?
A few things. I think that, you have to remember they played a shortened season last year. He doesn't quite have that year two experience. Like the first half of this year was his first season, right? And there's still an adjustment going on. When you watch him play, the guy's got an arm. He can obviously run. There's no doubt about it. Where will he end up? Will he be just, a forgotten scrambler? I don't think so. I mean, if he can put it together and they can get, another good wide receiver to complement who they have, could he be Deshaun Watson? Maybe. It's easy to knock a guy that early in his career, but there's obviously enough people that believe in the guy because look at his card sales. I mean, they still sell for a lot.
Yeah, there's definitely people willing to drop some cheddar on Jalen Hurts cards. A couple days ago, I think that you can find some, and I'm specifically looking at buy it nows too, by the way. But look at auctions. Like I've been really eyeballing these because I feel that, especially after the Gardner Minshew performance this past week, that Jalen Hurts auctions this week are going to go well under market value. Not to mention that we're just in kind of like a buy low season right now for these guys that haven't really made a big step forward to kind of being crowned as the next Hall of Fame player, like Mac Jones has with the Patriots because of that whole scenario, creating the perfect storm, driving the FOMO wild. I think though that Jalen Hurts, like you said, I think a year down the road from now, maybe this time next year, it's a totally different scenario. I think these values of Jalen Hurts are going to go up long term.
Yeah, and I think that if you were buying Jalen Hurts just a couple days ago or last week, you probably got a steal because we've seen how week to week injuries or standout games or bad games can affect purchase prices. And I've watched auctions of his go down, down, down last week because everyone's like Minshew, Minshew, Minshew. But all those guys that bought these Minshew cards, if Hurts starts every game for the rest of his career, what are you holding on to at that point? I'm not saying I'm 100% right, but there's always two sides of every possibility. And if Hurts is their guy, his card values should maintain where they're at because they're not at the top, they're not at the bottom, but they're probably in the top third for quarterback prices.
Let me ask you, would you rather have a Tua Tagovailoa rookie ticket for $280 or a Jalen Hurts for $220?
The wild card one right there.
Well, I'm specifically, I'm specifically talking about the base rookie ticket auto. It's not a base card; it's an insert within the base contenders set. But the base on card rookie ticket auto from Contenders, this one right here that sold for $210.50 on December 4th, 23 bids, mind you, or this Tua Tagovailoa one that sold. Same exact card, sold December 1st, one bid, $279.99.
If I was just being handed the card, probably the Hurts. If I was investing in the card, probably the Tua, because I feel like you can maybe get Tua's a bit less than Hurts right now. There seems to not be that faith in him, but I have a lot of faith in the guy. And you might not know this, but that's a stretch for me to say because before the season, I didn't have that same faith in him, but I've seen him play now, and they don't really have an elite running back down there. But if they can get a better running back situation and maybe another good wideout, take a little bit of weight off Waddle's back, they could have a pretty dang good team down there. And the Jalen Hurts card, I think, has better short-term value if you're looking to flip it, because they have a bigger following in Philly, and his cards are already higher in price than Tua's are. But I think as a long-term hold, the Tua I would rather have.
Interesting, very interesting. I my personal opinion in a long-term hold, I'd rather have the Jalen Hurts just for the fact that the injury that Tua suffered in college, the hip injury. Talking to my good friend, co-host on the Questcast, shout out to Carter from Power Hour LSU, and he covered that injury very closely, and he said he just never looked the same after that in college. And the type of injury that he incurred was very similar to the one that ended Bo Jackson's career. So that definitely kind of concerns me. Not gonna lie. And Jalen Hurts is, I mean, he's a stud. Like, he's thick, So from that perspective, plus the Philadelphia Eagles, I believe, have a bigger fan base, like you mentioned. And Jalen Hurts' prices are lower. So I'm very opportunistic in the sense that fairly, comparable athletes in terms of like resume to this point, right, in the NFL. And I'm very opportunistic in the sense that because Jalen Hurts' prices are $50 cheaper on the identical card, I would take the Jalen Hurts.
That's fair. I wonder if there wasn't a quarterback controversy of some kind, if that would be the case. I wonder if going back a month or two, if there would be the same disparity, and maybe there wouldn't be. But one thing about Tua and his injury, one thing to keep in mind is when Bo Jackson played football and played baseball and whatever else he was playing, he's a multi-sport guy. That was in the late 80s, early 90s. An ACL tear was a career ender. We've come so far in sports medicine now that guys tear an ACL, they're back in 8 months, so it's a whole different game now.
It's very true.
So that's something to take into consideration. I mean, the guy goes out there, plays hard every week. I think that if he himself was worried about the injury, you wouldn't see him running the ball as much. But I mean, he's got a bright future, I think. And I was not a believer before the season, but I think I've seen enough now to think he's got good things coming.
He's played really well. Like, he's fought hard.
Doesn't he have the highest completion rate over the past several weeks too?
That is a great question. I
read somewhere that it's 80% or something like that.
Completion, 27. Wow. I mean, I'll tell you, 27 for 33, 27 for 31, 30 for 41. I mean, that's really good, man. That's a really good QBR. Now, granted, at the Jets, but Carolina at home, that's a pretty big statement. I give them that. And the Giants. The Giants have played pretty good defense in a lot of games this year. Decent.
Yeah, Miami's still in a rebuilding mode, but they're going to get good quick. If you remember just a few years ago, they traded their whole team away for first round picks. I don't know if you remember that or not, but there was just nobody was safe. Everyone on that team, I think, except for like Xavier Howard, got traded away, which I'm glad they didn't, because that guy's awesome. But
yeah, and I'm looking at the value comparison. So, I mean, for what a Justin Herbert base rookie ticket auto on card auto costs right now at 2,400 there in an auction, or look at how much lower. But of course, this isn't like color match, but still, like, I would get this because it's just that much cheaper, like $800 cheaper. But even at let's say $1,500. This one's $2,200 again. So clearly, that base rookie ticket auto with the on-card auto, it seems to go higher than the one with color on it.
What was the Hurts and Tua's going for? 300-400?
The Tua was December 1st for 280. The Hertz was December 4th for 210. And this Justin Herbert here is 2,200 November 29th. Or I can go to this buy it now for 2,400 on December 1st.
I think, one thing you got to ask yourself, if you're spending $2,000 on cards, what's the ceiling for that $2,000 card, right? Does that have room to grow? Now, you could buy 8 or 9 Hertz or Tua rookie ticket autos with the same amount of money, give or take. And you can make the argument that they have room to grow because they don't have that same following that these two other quarterbacks have right now. So that's something to think about.
Yeah, and other thing that I think about is I try and visualize if I think that the FOMO will ever get big enough to really drive the value of Jalen Hurts or Tua's prices to the tier that a Joe Burrow or even a Justin Herbert is. You see at an even higher tier than Joe Burrow, especially after this win this past weekend. And I think that the answer is yes. I can easily see a scenario based on supply and demand where the supply vanishes very quickly of the Jalen Hurts and Tua because of a string of really good performances, especially early in a season, let's say 2022, right? We're talking about teams improve their supporting cast through the draft this upcoming year. They make some changes, some improvements. All of a sudden, they string together some good performances in their junior year, their third year in the league, and boom, voila, we see the supply just disappear and these values of the rookie ticket autos all of a sudden jump up at least to a respectable $800-900. I mean, that's still much lower than what Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert's are at. And I think that yeah, man, I could totally see that. That's what I was gonna think. Look at Josh Allen. Josh Allen's third year was the magic year for him. Now, I know these guys may not have the same quarterback coaching as Josh Allen, maybe not the same coaching, but I would hope that they're hiring good coaches, and I would hope that, it's possible. It's very likely. I could see this scenario unfold, where this happens. And their third year, all of a sudden, boom, they catch fire.
I think it's easy to forget when you're looking at a player that's elite right now that just a couple years ago you mentioned Josh Allen. There was a time where you could get his cards for a reasonable price. You know what I mean? And that window has closed, but you don't, when you're investing, whether it's a stock or a trading card, you have to remember that when you're looking at it from an investment standpoint, that window can close. So if there's a guy you're high on and you have faith that you can make a financial gain on the card, you don't wait till everyone else is buying it, because then you're going to pay a premium.
Very true, man. It pays to be in early on these guys, and that's why we're talking about it now. That's some great points have been brought up tonight, Steve. Shout out to Alakai here in the chat. Alakai is one of our patron members, and he said, take Watson out of the picture. I think there wouldn't be controversy. I'm not sure what he's talking about. He does have the highest.
Miami.
Oh yeah, in Miami. Oh, he must be talking about the completion. I believe Alakai is a big Miami Dolphins fan.
I think that I don't think that if they were to get Watson in Miami, that Tua would stay there, though. That's the thing is, he would. Would it affect his dynasty value if he went to a mediocre team? Probably, but it wouldn't affect it that much. He's still a second-year quarterback.
I love it, man. Is there anything else burning on your mind right now that you want to share in this stream before we sign off, before we get out of here?
Well, I would say definitely check your fantasy lineups if you're in the playoffs this week. That's pretty important. And one big piece of advice I would say is if you're going into the playoffs, have a backup quarterback and have a handcuff for your top running backs, because those are the guys that can win you the league. I'll give you an example. David Montgomery could be out this week. Joe Mixon could be out this week. If you don't have someone to plug in for those guys, Khalil Herbert or P. Ryan or whoever the backup is in Cincinnati, you worked pretty hard to get where you got and maybe bow out early. So make sure you got a handcuff.
Yeah, that's great advice, man. Make sure you have your handcuff. I got so lucky in our rookie card league that I was able to, I literally won the last 6 weeks in a row, I think. And I got lucky, man, because my quarterback was actually out this past week, was Jalen Hurts. He's been my QB1 all year. Come to find out, we got a diehard Eagles fan in our league who's stashed Gardner Minshew on his bench for weeks now, waiting for this moment. So I wasn't able to pick him up on game day. And luckily, though, I just said, I'm going to throw a dart throw Saturday night. I put in a waiver claim for Andy Dalton, got him. Luckily, he started Sunday and put up a respectable 17.8. And now I've got a first round bye in the playoffs starting this week. And so I'm like, oh, thank God, because now I would be screwed because the Eagles are on a bye week and I wouldn't have my quarterback again. I don't have a backup. I picked up Davis Mills this week. That's how kind of desperate I am to have a backup quarterback.
Winning doesn't have to be pretty. Remember that.
But I am sitting good with running backs. So I'm sitting good with running backs. I'll tell you who's been killing me this year, man, is Antonio Brown. Oh, didn't I trade you for Antonio Brown?
Yeah.
Earlier in the season, right? I traded you Jameis Winston. Well, you've been totally decimated with injury. I feel like every quarterback you get has been injured.
I think if there was a trophy for most injured quarterbacks, I would have won it in the league this year. I mean, I've probably started more different quarterbacks than any other team in our league. Almost every week, a quarterback I had got hurt. So, yeah, maybe next year. Maybe next year it'll be a little different.
I got a question for you. I think this one's pretty easy for me. But I guess there's been a couple guys that have popped up recently that have looked pretty darn good. But I'd like to hear your opinion on this, Steve, from Jay. Who do you think will win the rookie running back in the NFL? Is there an award for that? I mean, I know there's Rookie of the Year, I guess.
I don't know if there is, but yeah, I mean, I think that the number one running back is probably Jonathan Taylor, and he's got by far the most yards. He's almost at 1,400. He's got a lot more touchdowns than the next guy. I think it's clearly him. Now, there's some other guys that could be arguable runner-ups. I think it gets a little bit cloudy after that. But as far as who the top dog is and who will probably win, whatever offensive player of the year for running back, I think it's going to be him for sure.
No doubt. Now, what about rookie, 2021 rookie running back?
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know that there's been any that have really stood out. What do you think?
Well, at the beginning of the year, I would have said hands down Najee Harris. But recently, man, Javonte Williams has looked really good. And I don't think Chuba Hubbard looks anything close to phenomenal like some people thought he would. Michael Carter has looked pretty good at times. I still think it's Najee. Harris. But I think it would kind of Javonte, I think, is right there.
I think if he wasn't in a timeshare, I think he could probably take it. But I think as far as what has been already done throughout the course of the year, then you're probably right on that one. I think that's probably the 1 and 2.
Is Elijah Mitchell a 2021 rookie? I'm curious.
He is. Yeah, no, he is.
Because if he is, I mean, he's right up there too, man. He's turned out to be really
I think a lot
good.
of people forget about him because he was wasn't he like a 5th round draft pick?
Yeah, he was either a 5th rounder, 6th rounder, a 6th rounder. He is a 2021 rookie. He went to Louisiana Lafayette College.
He's been unbelievable. In the few leagues that I have him in, I start him every week. I mean, he's been awesome.
He ran a 4.4 on his pro day. Actually, a pro day of 4.35. So the dude's got wheels, man. And look at his college yards per carry, a 6.5. That's an 84th percentile. So that's a good athlete right here, man.
Yeah, he does it all. I think that I mean they've really leaned on him. Him and Deebo Samuel are kind of like the big standouts on that team. And now Kittle's back in the mix too. They're looking pretty strong. You know, I'll say that Stevenson has looked really good lately, but one thing to keep in mind with him, and whether it's investing or fantasy, is that he's gonna split work with Damian Harris. It's just what's going on, you know, and you have to take that into consideration when you're making those decisions.
And that's what stands out so much to me about Elijah Mitchell is that that's a running back by committee team as well. And Elijah Mitchell's run away with the job. I mean, he's beat out the rookie Trey Sermon, who a lot of people were touting at the beginning of the season. Jermichael Hasties and Jeff Wilson, all these guys that, you know, were like previous, like Kyle Shanahan coaches' pets, like, you know, top dog running backs. And now it's Elijah Mitchell's show, you know?
Yeah, I'll admit I was skeptical that could ever happen over there. They always use committees, and you just noticed that it stopped. And until Stevenson kind of got thrown into the mix, I was shocked that Damian Harris was being used almost exclusively for the first half of the season.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. Yes, thank you, Luke. I hope you guys are enjoying a superior sound quality tonight. I did get a new mic, man. It's well worth the value. This is a Blue Yeti. It's I think this is the one I was talking to you about, Luke, in the Discord, and I got it off of Amazon. It was well worth the investment of around $100. The sound quality between this mic and the last one is still a USB connected mic. Is hands down better, like big time. Appreciate that, bro.
It's a great running back.
All right, guys. So this has been a great stream. Once again, if you guys want to go back to earlier in the show, you can see the picks that we made. And no pressure, Steve, no pressure. But my bankroll now in Underdog is up to $215 from an initial investment of just $50. And that's based on almost all of your prop bets that you gave me. So, I mean, I'm looking to invest that into some rookie ticket autos here for the Christmas season. Bring home some Christmas presents for myself.
I'd love to see it.
If you guys want to make the same bets with us, you're more than welcome to. Obviously, there's no guarantee to win, but if you use promo code QUEST when you sign up for UnderdogFantasy.com, you get 100% instant deposit bonus up to $100, and we're directly affiliated with them, so it helps out the channel monetarily. It's a huge help. You earn a special place in my heart if you sign up with underdogfantasy.com using promo code Quest. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button and drop us a comment. Let us know what your favorite prop bet on the week is. Let us know, what game you're most excited about this weekend, what you're noticing in the market, anything interesting. If you have any questions, we'll be back this time next Wednesday as well.
Yeah, don't forget they have a couple $1 bets you can make. You don't have to make a serious commitment, but it does add a little element of excitement to watching the games by just putting a little wager down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you put a little wager down, and it's like buying a lotto ticket, but a educated lotto ticket, And
Right.
we've seen that using the process that you've outlined for us on the show and the research that we've done on this show, that is very doable. It's kind of much higher percentage of winning than buying a lotto ticket. So, or putting like a tournament entry in a DFS, type of lineup even.
Sure. Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate all you guys. Hope you enjoy the game tomorrow night and all the games this weekend, and we will see you in that next one. Peace. Take you out with some rock music there.